sharing with you in this video how to take action every single day towards your goals. And it's not that you have to take action every single day. I think that just consistent action is important. You don't have to do it necessarily every single day or, religiously and never miss a day with whatever it is that you're doing. But the case, I believe, is that unless there's consistency, it's going to be hard to get a result, because consistency and momentum is what we need to achieve a result. I'm going to share with you in this video what I mean by this, how you can apply this in your life to be able to get what you want, not just to get it, but do it in a way where it's aligned with your values, the way that you want to be, and how you actually want to feel in your life in the bigger picture. Not that you're going to be able to control your feelings every single day or always control your state, but to have a general goal or general idea of what you want, how you want to feel, and the way that you actually want to live your life. Now, the first thing that I want to share with you in this video in regards to how to actually do this, how to take action every single day towards your goals, and I mean every single day, if you want that, how to just stay consistent every single day, is to understand that everything is identity. Everything is identity. So if you claim yourself to be a specific person, the actions that you take will follow through. And I want you to test this. Test this for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Commit to something. Commit to be a type of person. Commit to, be an identity. Be a person. Be a specific role in the world. Commit to it. And watch how, if it requires of you to take daily action towards that every single day, what you'll find is that you start to do it effortlessly because you decided that that's who you are. So if it's required of you to take daily action towards something, what I would invite and encourage you to do is to tell yourself that you already are that person. And you've probably heard it a lot in the community of creation or attraction or manifestation or whatever word you want to use. But the truth is that really, I think it's a lot more practical and grounded and fundamental than just creating something airy-fairy. It's that you are a human being that consists of behaviors and patterns. And what defines this behavior? What defines your daily behaviors? What you do, if you look at your actions every single day and you put them on a piece of paper and you observe yourself, like what actions are you taking? What you'll find is that these actions actually define your value system. Now, see, a person might say they value one thing, but then you look at their daily actions and how they're acting does not align with their values and who they say they want to be. A lot of people talk a lot about what they say they want to be and where they want to go, but then their actions contradict this. And this is a big problem for me, because sometimes what happens for me is that I talk so much about where I want to go that, ironically, so what happens is that it kind of takes me away from being the person that is doing it. It can become a big problem where, you want this thing, you talk about it, you're so excited about it, but it's like you're not being it. You're not actually aligning your actions with it. And I think that identity is a big part of this. Identity is a huge part of this. This is why when it comes to removing negative habits in your life, I don't think that challenges to, 21-day challenges to, to stop doing the negative thing, I don't think that those actually work. They can't work. They're fundamentally flawed in the whole way that it works, because if you're trying to stop a bad habit, it still implies that at a subconscious level, you still believe that you're the person that does the thing that you're trying to let go of. So for example, if you're trying to stop smoking and you're trying to do a 21-day stop smoking challenge, I can promise you that, there's a very high probability that at the end of that 21-day challenge, you will relapse, or at some point you will relapse, and you'll feel guilty for it, and you'll feel shameful for it, and you'll judge yourself for it. If these challenges ever work, if there's ever been a scenario where this 21-day challenge ever worked for a person, it's simply because at some point they decided in their mind that they are no longer a smoker, that they are somebody else. They transmuted the energy of I am a smoker into something else, and they became something else. And so this is powerful because you don't need to wait 21 days to do this. It can happen in an instant. Now, it does generally take 21 days for a habit to form, but if you commit to something strongly enough, I promise you that there's going to come a point where you just simply know that in that moment, you're no longer going to be the old person, because there comes a point where a person has a separation almost from the identity of who they used to be. They've been walking through life and they might believe that they're this type of person, but then there's like this separation that happens where they realize, like, wait a second, I'm not going to be this person anymore. It's just not who I am. I'm done. Like, it's just like maybe they experienced something too painful. It became so painful, so much suffering, where they realize, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. It's just like they just know. And I promise you that no matter what you want to do in your life, there's going to come a point where you want to create something where you just know that something else that you don't want to be, you're done with that. And then if you do this and you truly decide that you are going to be the person instead of, like, whatever you don't like, you become something else instead, what happens is that you're going to take action every single day. And if it's not daily action, it's going to be consistent. You're going to be committed now. You're going to come from a different place. You're not going to be 50%. You're not going to have any decision-making fatigue on if you're making the wrong choice. You're going to be committed. And if you have any decision-making fatigue, you're going to cut down on that a lot. You're going to remove a lot of the decision-making fatigue in your life. Because a lot of the times, a lot of stress and resistance comes from overthinking. Overthinking on, should I do this? Should I go in this direction? Or should I go in this direction? It's like you start thinking about which choice should you make. What's the right choice? What's the wrong choice? What are the pros? What are the cons? What if I should go in this direction instead? And it's like all of this can be avoided if you truly realize that you're committing to an identity. Now, this has to happen from the heart. You have to truly be done with the old reality. And I'm telling you right now that if you're truly done with the old reality and you're truly done and you're willing to take a risk, even if you don't know if it's the right choice, you might be thinking, well, look, I don't know if this is the right choice. I could be wrong. It's like you're willing to kind of live in that space of the unknown where you're committed. You're 100% committed, and you're a very, very committed and loyal person to whatever it is that you're focused on. But at the same time, you're also in the space of the unknown and you have no attachment. This right here is the space to create powerful things in your life. This is where you have the best ideas. You can offer the most value to people. You can offer the most value to the world. I think that if we're coming from a place of attachment and have unconscious identification with our old identity and the stream of thinking that pops up in our mind on a daily basis, that's not going to be the place to change your identity, to actually take action every single day and not miss a day. Not miss a day. Whatever it is that you want to create, if you want to be so consistent where you're taking action every single day and you have 0 sick days, like you don't miss a day, like you're just consistently doing things. And I'm not promising that you can do this. I'm not even promising this for myself. I just think that we can put ourselves in a position to have the highest probability of acting like this in our life. Because if you see the world in a certain way, it's going to be more likely that you take daily action. And I think that understanding that how important identity is and how it runs your life is going to be what you need to take daily action. So what I mean by identity, the point really here is that just be conscious of how important identity really is when it comes to you creating your life. Now, the second thing that I want to share with you in this video is just to understand that I do believe that consistent action is what creates momentum. So how do you really take daily action every single day towards your goals? It's to remember and just keep in the back of your mind, just keep aware of this, that if you want to build momentum, you're going to need to take consistent action. And that requires sometimes daily action. I'm not saying it has to be necessarily daily once again, but you're going to need to be consistent, maybe every other day, maybe every week. Whatever it is that you're working on, maybe it could even be once a year, or something, if it's something rare. But it's like, usually if we're talking about something practical here and something that most people can agree on, it's going to be daily action. Like if you want to be a professional songwriter, you need to write songs every single day. If you want to be a professional, whatever it is, you need to do it every single day. It doesn't matter. You need to be committed to do things consistently if you want to build momentum. I'm not saying that you have to live your life in this way. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that this is the right way to live life and that you should live life in this way. I'm not going to stand here and say that. I do believe that there's right and wrong, and if there is a right and wrong in life, which I do believe there is, I do believe that this perspective is going to be probably a little bit more right than others. And I say that and not in a way where I know everything and that I'm saying that you're wrong and that, you know, you should be listening to me because I know something more than you or anything like this. What I'm saying is that if you look at your life and you've ever created something of value, something successful, something that made you feel like you left that task energized, and you feel good with that thing you're doing, you feel like you're getting better. What happened is that you took consistent action and you created some kind of momentum. And what I mean by momentum is you start to take action and now it doesn't feel like it has to be difficult anymore. It's like things just kind of flow. Things just happen in a way where it doesn't feel forced. It just kind of happens, you know? Like on the one end, you have a very specific intention and a very specific structure and you know how you're going to show up. On the other end, you're completely surrendered and you have no ego whatsoever. And you understand that really the divine, you know, and the essence and the divinity within you is flowing in each moment, you know, because you don't need to take responsibility for everything, right? You can have faith in life itself to help you to be the person that you need to be and to just let it happen. Just let your ego not control everything, not be so controlling, and let just things happen. But if you want to be consistently taking action where you start to feel like things are just happening, you need to start that momentum and take action consistently. And it's hard to explain it. It's almost like if you want to feel like things are just happening naturally, you need to sometimes get the ball rolling a little bit and then just start taking action even if you don't feel like it. So regardless of how you get there, if you somehow manage to consistently take action, you will start to build momentum. And I think that this is what we need to start to do to take action towards our goal every single day. And what I meant by when I said earlier, like being right or whatever, what I'm saying is that, like, if you're honest with yourself, anytime again that you've ever created something successful in your life, it was when you had momentum. So I don't want it to be like I'm saying that I know something that's right because I'm saying it's right. I want it to be an understanding that we can all agree what is right and what is wrong. And the truth is that, you know, if you care about something truly from the depth of your heart, you would want to build momentum in that area. You know, and when I say that's right, what I'm saying is that this goes back to values. I'm not trying to be right. I don't want to be right in this video or to win you over or something like this. What I'm saying is that I want you to win yourself over towards your own goal and be honest about what you actually care about. So win yourself over in terms of convince yourself that you actually do care about your goal and then take action towards it, because I don't want you to watch this video and then think I'm trying to be right. What I'm trying to do here is for you to actually value what you value and align your actions with your value system. And so the only way to do this, though, is to see where are you building momentum in your life. Where are you actually building momentum? Where are you actually taking actions where you start to feel these actions are becoming a little bit easier because you're so disciplined, because you're taking so much consistent action that now it feels easier. And if you're doing this in the wrong areas and you're doing it in areas that you don't like and you're putting all your energy into stuff that, or maybe you never feel this way at all, you don't have any momentum in your life, well then in that case, that's even more of a reason to look at that and say, you know, why don't I have momentum in the areas of my life that I want? But I'm putting in all this energy in the stuff that I say that I care about, yet I'm not even happy. That's a huge problem. So I think that we need to start to take an audit of our actions and see which actions are we taking. Are we actually taking actions that are aligned with our values? And what are your values? Like, are you conscious of your values? Have you ever sat down to think about, like, what do I care about? What are my values? You know, do you have people that are aligned with your values? Have you talked about with the people in your life if they have the same value system as you? Maybe you might have two people that are just not compatible because they have different values, and that is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But if nobody can become even clear on their values, how are you supposed to walk through life and own them fully? Like, it's pretty tough to own your values and to walk through life owning your values fully if you can't even understand what they are, if you don't even know what you care about. But here's a good way to do it. You want to know what you care about? Look at your actions every single day. Take an audit of your actions. Look at your actions every single day and see what you're doing. That's what you care about. And if you don't like what you're caring about right now, then what I want you to do is to start to understand this concept of momentum and understand that if you take consistent action towards something, you'll create this thing called momentum, where now it's a snowball effect, where it's just this ball rolling down a hill, and it's just effortlessly building more momentum, more speed, and the ball is getting bigger, and there's more snow, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's like, maybe at first you needed to really push it to get it started. And same with like a car. It takes some, if you drive a manual car, it takes some time to get it going. But then once you're going, and it's pretty hard to stop. And you'll find that this is how it always is in anything in your life that you don't care about doing at first. Maybe you don't feel like doing it at first. You don't want to do it. I don't feel like doing this. And I'm not saying you don't care about it. The wrong choice of words. What I meant is you don't feel like doing it, but you want it. This is how it always is for things that you have to do that you don't feel like doing. Every single time, this is how it is. If you look at your life, you look at your whole life. You wake up in the morning, you feel, you're in the bed sheets and you feel calm and relaxed. And what do? You don't want to go to school. You don't want to go to work, right? But then once you go to work, you start to feel better. You start to feel like you're building momentum. You start to feel like, oh, why was I even so upset this morning? And you start to feel like excited about your life again. And it's like, by the end of it, maybe if you really love what you do, you won't even want to stop working. Whereas at the beginning of the day, you felt like, why should I even get up in the morning? And let's be honest, I'm not going to stand here and say that every single morning I feel great. There's definitely mornings where I don't feel like taking action and I don't want to do things, and I definitely don't want to get out of bed. I just want to keep laying in bed. But I know that if I keep laying in bed, and I know that if I don't get up, I'm not aligned with what I say I want to be, and that's going to create suffering for me. So I really am okay with the pain of taking action, because for me, the pain of living with a lack of integrity is not something I'm willing to do. I'm willing to take the pain of consistency, of moving towards my vision, of stepping into the unknown, rather than the pain that comes from being attached to the old identity and not living life of integrity. Because if I'm going to live a life of non-integrity, of zero values, of zero being committed to my values and what I care about, what happens is that the pain for me becomes so great of that I almost have to be a man of integrity. I have to be a man of my word, because if I'm not, again, that pain is stronger for me than the pain that comes from me being who I want to be. And I think that that's really powerful, because that's what motivates me personally to take consistent action to build that momentum. And I invite and encourage you to, if you care about something, take enough action to build momentum. And you'll notice that once you start building that momentum, it's going to feel a lot easier. Whereas at the beginning, you didn't even want to take action. Now, the third thing that I want to share with you in this video, to conclude this video, is to understand that I really do believe that, once again, consistent action, but this time over a long period of time, is what is going to lead to mastery, and to you becoming a master at your craft. Now, what is mastery? I'm not saying that anybody can be perfect. I'm not going to sit here and say you need to be perfect individual, or that I'm perfect, or that somebody should be perfect, because by no means is anybody perfect, and definitely not myself. I'm definitely not perfect. Nobody's perfect, and nobody can really be perfect. But it's like, shouldn't we kind of strive to be perfect in some degree? Not from a space of judging yourself or resisting the present moment, or saying that this moment is not enough. You can come from life and understand that at the very essence, this moment is enough. And everything just is. If this idea of mastery does actually exist, let's just pretend that it exists just for a moment. How would we actually get there? Well, first of all, before we're talking about getting there, I want just to make something clear. How you would not get there is by being extremely motivated, being overly emotional, taking action for a couple of days, maybe a few weeks, and then stopping and then not being consistent. And that might sound obvious. It's like, well, of course, that sounds obvious, but this is how most people live their life. In my past, I've been guilty of this many, many times, where I would feel happy, I'd feel motivated, I would feel a little bit better, and then I would use that as a reason to take action for maybe a few days, but then it never lasted. But then I realized that I can't depend on my feelings to take action or to do something, because my feelings are not a proper, indicator of if I should be taking action or not. Your feelings are telling you, if you're taking action towards something, eventually your feelings do feel better, and there's a deeper intelligence within you that is kind of communicating to you if you're on the right path. That's something I'm not going to dispute. But what I'm saying is that how you feel in the morning shouldn't dictate if you take action. And then if you stop feeling motivated after 2 weeks, or maybe 3 weeks, that shouldn't be a reason for you to stop taking action. I think that in order to be successful, to achieve results in your life, if we're going to define success as achieving a result, not just taking action towards the identity, even though I do believe success is simply aligned action towards our intention. If we're going to define success just for a moment as actually getting a result, becoming a master, getting the things that you want in your life, seeing physical changes actually happen in your life, remember, that's not going to happen through feeling motivated and then taking action through feeling motivated one day and then only doing it when you feel like it's okay to feel motivated that day, and you feel okay and it's like now you can take action. It's like, no, actually you need to be consistent over a long period of time no matter what. And that's how you become a master. I think if that concept does even exist, that's how you can build leverage to the point where you've become so skillful at something, you've become so skilled at something, you have such a high level skill set that people almost can't not go to you for advice in that area, whatever that area is. Whatever you're good at, whatever you've become a master at, people have to go to you. And now you can offer true value to the world because you've just been so consistent, right? Maybe one day you were putting in more effort. Maybe another day you put in less effort. I'm not saying that you have to work extremely hard every single day, because remember, working hard, most people work hard and then they stop after 2 weeks. So don't focus on working hard. Always focus on being consistent in the long run. That's going to be powerful. You want to be so powerful to actually get results in your life, to the point where you trust in your power to get results. Be consistent in the long run. Think about it in the long run. Be fearless. I understand that time is limited and I understand that time is ticking, but at the same time though, the reality is that for things to grow, it's going to take time sometimes. You can't just grow a flower in one day. You can't just grow a tree in one day. For a tree to get the way that it is, that takes a lot of time. That takes a long period of time. Similarly so, if you want to become a master at something, just let it take some time. But think about it like this though, like if this intimidates you or makes you feel uncomfortable, don't make it a bad thing, because just remember that time is inevitably going to move forward anyway, you know what I mean? And then in a year's time, 10 years time can go on and you can be a master at something, or 10 years time can go on and you can be the same person. So which one do you want to be? Like what's more exciting to you? Like for me, 10 years is going to go by no matter what. We both agree time is ticking, right? We're all limited to time. We're all attached to time. We're all attached to feeling pain in our life to some degree. We're all but we're all inevitably in the human experience going to feel pain, and we're all going to experience time. Okay, so these things are going to happen no matter what. You're going to feel pain, you're going to experience time. So if these things are going to happen no matter what, wouldn't it just make more sense to simultaneously level up and become a master at something while that's going to happen anyway? Wouldn't that just make more sense? Like, doesn't that make more sense? Like, let me know if that makes more sense. If that doesn't make sense, please let me know, because to me, it's like, I don't see an alternative. It's like, if time's going to go by no matter what, if I'm still going to feel pain no matter what, why not become a master? Why not fix all my money problems? Why not be the best person that, gets what I want and gets the results that I'm looking for in my life? Why not simultaneously get what I want, help others to get there, but then still feel pain and still have time go on no matter what? Like pain, like these things are going to be inevitably happening. So why not just get what you want? Why not align with your heart's desire? And I know it sounds egotistical, but if you're living in this world, you're still going to have an ego. Everything is egotistical. Everything comes from ego, really, at the end of the day. There's no running away from the ego, and the ego is not a bad thing. I think it's just about understanding what you want, owning that fully, and just becoming aware that that's a really good thing for humanity, actually, is for you to be fully aligned with your desires. Because remember, just as much as you want to choose something, other people want to choose it in a different way. So if you want to create something of value, there's somebody that wants to receive that value, and they're willing to pay for that value. They're more than willing and more than happy to pay for that value, pay with their time and their money usually, if they see the value and if they genuinely want it. So just as much as you want to give value to somebody in some area, whatever you want to do, somebody wants to receive it. If you want to open a restaurant, somebody wants to eat at that restaurant. If you want to start a podcast, somebody wants to watch the podcast. If you want to be a doctor, somebody needs to be healed by the doctor. They need healing just as much as somebody wants to, their dream is to do something. It's somebody else's dream to be part of that dream. Just as much as you want to start a multi-million-dollar company, somebody wants to work for that company and be on a salary job in that company. That's their dream, is to have a position in that company. You creating what you want is not a contradiction to people's goals. I think that you creating what you want is fully aligned with people's goals. I think that you creating what you want is aligned with the best of humanity. I think that feeling guilty for what we want, not owning our desires, is not helping humanity to feel better, to become better, and to improve in their life. It's not helping anybody. The best thing that you can do for humanity is to be the best version of yourself and to love yourself and to align with who you actually want to be and create the results that you're looking for in your life. And then from there, now you can actually offer value to the world from that